Hello, everyone, and today we're going to talk about the blues. What is the blues, and specifically focusing on what's called the minor blues scale and what that pattern looks like. But just some background information regarding blues music. You know, it has its roots in Africa and African American musical traditions. Now we hear this in the African American spirituals. And if you go back to early 20th century blues music, where it was a lot of vocalists like Bessie Smith or Ma Rainey, Billie Holiday, accompanied by the instruments, we hear that. And then over time, the style evolved. And then we have musicians like Muddy Waters and Etta James and um, Sister Sister Tharp, Rosetta Tharp, Eric Clapton, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, B.B. King, right? So and there's a lot more blues musicians of today, even the 20th and 21st century. So blues. So we're going to focus a bit on that. Now the scale, it's different from the major and minor scales that you have learned. But let's start there with the scale. So you know a music scale is a series of seven notes that follow a specific pattern. With the major scale, you learn that pattern is WWHW, right? Whole, whole, half, whole. And then the minor is the whole, half, whole. Well, the blues is kind of similar but different. When we talk about the blues scale, there are actually four main ones that are there's the five note scale, the six note, seven note, and nine note. We're going to focus on the six note blues scale. That's referred to as the hexatonic. Hexa, Hexa, meaning six, and which just means, it's a six note scale. And again, it follows a specific formula or pattern. And so this pattern sounds like this. And what that is one, flat three, four, five, flat five, flat seven. And then then we go back to D. So what does that mean? So when we talk about flat, that means we're adjusting or altering the pitch to go low. So in music, the flat and the symbol that designates that it looks like a lowercase b. So flat means to go low, and of course sharp. When you see the sharp sign in front of a note, that looks like a hashtag or tic-tac-toe sign, that alters the note higher. Okay, but here in this particular blues scale, the minor, we're referencing the flat. So when I say flat three or flat five, I'm lowering the note. So for example, instead of if I'm playing an F sharp and I want to make it lower, you just take the sharp away. Okay, so a um, flat three in this case. And let me talk a minute about the scale. So, when I said one and flat three and four and five, those numbers represent the position on which the letters sit. So, for example, we're in D, D is one, right? E is two, F is three, and four is G, five is A. And so when we say flat five, that means the A it's an A flat. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And then we talk about in the blues, you may have heard of the term blue notes. So to make these, the blue, what makes the blues blues, part of it has to do with these blue notes, which is the flat note. So when you hear these notes in the music, um, it brings soulfulness and flavor to um, the music that you're creating, or the music that you're hearing when you hear these soulful notes. So those are the flat five, the flat seven, and so forth. So that is it in a nutshell. And then I'm going to for the violin students, just quickly talk about or remind you about the finger pattern for the scale. So we're starting on D. You're open D, and you remember that open is 0. So the finger pattern for this scale is 0, 2, 3, 4, where the 4 is close to the 3. Okay, that's that flat 5. Okay, remember A is 5, so flat 5. So again, 0, 2, 3, 4. And then on the A string, 0, 2, 3. That's the scale. And I'll play it one more time. And then going backwards. Okay, and then just again to remind you that 3 and 4 again that's your half step. Remember, I referenced that earlier when I was talking about major and minor patterns. With the W means whole, and the H means half. How does that apply to the fingers? Well, W, your fingers are apart. Whole step. Half, your fingers would be close together, or in this case, that low 4 on the D string. Okay, so that's your half step. So have fun practicing this scale. Use different rhythms. Okay, slurs. And just have fun, mixing it up and creating. And I will see you at our next lesson.